Or Jonathan Conricus is a retired lieutenant colonel with the Israel Defense Forces, now a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. As we are some 7 hours into what is being described as a limited ground incursion, can I just get an assessment from you as to where you understand things to stand on the ground?
Yes, good morning, Becky. Thank you for having me. I think that as the IDF made official, the Israeli troops have indeed crossed the blue line and are operating in rather significant numbers in southern Lebanon. One elite paratrooper division combat team is operating, and I think that there are additional troops that are in the periphery. What they're focusing on is establishing the logistics and establishing a hold so that they can develop operations more. And I think that what we will be looking to achieve is, I'm sorry, there's noise in the background, there's alarms here, but I'll continue the interview. What the IDF will seek to establish is to control the immediate perimeter and eventually build on that in order to eventually allow Israelis to be able to go back to their homes safely. That's a matter of, I think, at least weeks, if not longer than that.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same alarms here in Tel Aviv. Thank you for continuing this conversation as we await further information. How far and for how long will those troops get into Lebanon and stay? How far and for how long?
Yeah, I think that, the purpose being to enable the safe return of Israeli civilians to their homes, 70,000 people to communities all along the blue line, the border between Israel and Lebanon, who haven't been home for a year. I think that will take at least weeks, to be honest, and probably more than that. And I think that we're talking about a distance which would be a tactical distance of a few kilometers inside. There's noise around me here, explosions. I hope that isn't interrupting. But kilometers inside Lebanon. The issue here being that Hezbollah over the years has established a lot of underground networks, tunnels, both for offensive and defensive purposes. And Hezbollah has anti-tank missile firing positions from within the Lebanese villages. So what the IDF will be trying to do is to move in and clear those so that it will be possible for Israeli civilians to go back to their homes.
There are unconfirmed reports of a communications blackout in southern Lebanon, so it is very hard to get a picture of exactly what is happening there as we speak. We are some 7 hours into this ground incursion as announced by the IDF around 2 o'clock in the morning local time. What will the Israeli troops involved do, or what will they be doing to avoid civilian casualties? We already know that some 20% of the Lebanese population, 1 million people, have been displaced, and many of those are from the south. What, to your understanding, will be being done to avoid civilian casualties and displacement?
Yeah, that's a super important topic, and I think Israel has made a lot of preparations together with the US, together with UN forces in Lebanon, and indirectly communicating to the Lebanese via media and diplomatic channels. And the first step is to clear and evacuate the area as much as possible of Lebanese civilians. And that has happened, and it's actually happened months ago. So contrary to the situation in Gaza, where the people had really very few places to go, and it was a very confined space, here for over a month, for months, Lebanese have had the opportunity to evacuate, and the area in southern Lebanon, especially the area close to the border where Israeli troops will be operating, is less civilians there, which is super important. Hezbollah will not have the ability to use human shields, and the IDF will be going in and will be able to do so with more force and more speed, which is very important.
The problem is, Jonathan, of course, is that despite the warnings to evacuate, we know that many of those civilians simply have nowhere to go. They're also being warned to stay away from Hezbollah infrastructure, from launchers. Many of them may not know where those are. Be that as it may, let's get back to where we started this conversation. We were talking about just how many Israeli troops are deployed, paratroopers, those in the armoured corps, commandos. Can you give me some more specific detail? How many troops are we speaking about here? And just how far, I know you said some kilometres, how far inside Lebanon would you expect them to go?
Yeah, we're talking about at least a division combat team. So that could be around 10,000 soldiers, give or take, not a specific number, but around that amount. And I think that, of course, Israel will be adding more. You know, just for reference, if we compare to 2006, there were 4 and 5 and 6 division combat teams operating in southern Lebanon at the peak of it. That is not where we are currently, and I don't think that Israel will intend to do a similar thing. And I think that Israel has learned a lot from 2006 and from analyzing Hezbollah infrastructure. So I think that we will see, hopefully, creative and surprise IDF operations. But amount-wise, we're talking about at least 10,000. And in terms of size and where they're going to maneuver, we're talking about tactical distances. So a few kilometers from the border to begin with. And then, of course, at the end of the day, the enemy has a vote, as American generals have taught us. We'll see how Hezbollah responds, how Iran instructs Hezbollah to operate, and what the fighting spirit and the fighting capabilities of Hezbollah will be. And that will, of course, also determine how far the IDF will have to operate, how bloody the battles will be, how significant the collateral damage will be. All of those things are yet to be seen because they depend very much on the kind of resistance that the IDF will meet.
Jonathan Conricus, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.